the cartel, the mafia kind of formation which has benefited from this money is made up of total 100% Kamba leaders from a party which is dominant in Ukambani.
Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and Honorable Wavinyandeti.
I want to state that the Excellency, the President William Ruto, has nothing to do in what is being purported by our colleagues from the other side.
So this is our statement on the East African Portland Cement demolitions. I will read then the members who make a few remarks about the same. In reference to the ongoing demolitions at the East Africa Portland Cement PLC property, we wish to state as follows. One, that we deeply empathize with all Kenyans whose property, shelter, and investments were demolished at Mavoko's East Africa Portland's land. Two, that all those who are already adversely mentioned to have duped gullible and innocent Kenyans and fleeced them of their hard-earned money while masquerading as the legitimate owners of the Portlands be compelled by government to fully compensate the victims of the demolitions. Three, that the DCI should urgently investigate all those mentioned as beneficiaries of the proceeds acquired illegally from the sale of Portland's land. Four, that we are aware that the same criminals have also invaded other private lands, denying the rightful owners the freedom to enjoy their own land. The investigations should also be expanded to cover the invasion of neighboring private lands. Five, that this is not a Kamba issue, but a cartel of conmanship patronized by a few known politicians, and the crocodile tears that some of our leaders you've seen in solidarity with the same people they stole from should be ignored. Six, that those found culpable be charged in our courts of law to serve as an example to the rest of anyone hell-bent to steal from taxpayers, because the state corporation's land is property of the state and not private property, as the land cartels and criminals and their mandarins would want to allude, purport, or insinuate. Their assets should be recovered after the investigations and prosecutions to compensate Kenyans who have lost millions in the frontland land deals. 7, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and Honorable Wavinyandeti and other leaders be compelled to publicly declare what their private interest, and I want you to mark the word private interest, not public interest, is in the Portland's land. They should also be investigated on how much land has been allocated to them through their proxies. And therefore that, number 8, the DCI list should be expanded to capture the big fish, including governors and the party leaders. The DCI should not be scared. They should expand the list. We don't believe this is a Macau-only issue. The list must be expanded to capture the big fish. Thank you.
Asanteni sana kwa kama vile Mheshimiwa Wamwala, Mheshimiwa Kawaya amesema, sisi ni wabunge ambao tuko kwa mrengo wa Kenya Kwanza kutoka sehemu za Ukambani. Na kwanza nataka niseme kwamba ile shida ambayo iko Athi River sio shida mpya, ni shida ambayo ilianza kitambo. Wakenya wanakumbuka kwamba wakati Mheshimiwa George Saitoti alikuwa waziri wa internal security wakati wa serikali ya Mheshimiwa Mwai Kibaki, in the year 2011-2010 aliweza kuteua tume maalum ya kwenda kuchunguza jinsi wakora walikuwa wamejipanga kuvamia shamba za serikali, chaired by former Commissioner Abdullah Duba. So there was a Saitoti Commission, and the report came in 2012, if those of you care to read. And the report named some of the people who are involved. And the names that are being mentioned are not new because they are in the 2012 Saitoti report. Na baadaye mnakumbuka kwamba mimi nilikuwa nafanya kazi katika kaunti ya Machakos, na najua kwamba hii shida imekuweko, kwamba watu wanajipanga wachache, wanajihami, wanavamia shamba ya serikali ama wanavamia shamba ya mtu binafsi, wanajifanya masquatter kusudi ndio waweze kupata right of ownership ya mashamba. Kwa hivyo kumekuwa na wanasiasa ambao ni patrons, kumekuwa na cartels ambao ni criminals wanatumika kuvamia mashamba, na kumekuwa na wafanyikazi katika maofisi za serikali, katika survey na katika land registry ambao wamekuwa wakisaidia hao. Na vile vile kumekuwa kwamba ndio utumwe Machakos kama county commander, ndio utumwe Mavoko kama OSPD ama DC, lazima ukue katika hiyo cartel. So imekuwa ni cartel kubwa ambayo imekuwa ikiumiza watu wetu. Hivi leo tunavyoongea, si shamba ya Portland peke yake ambayo imenyang'anywa, na ni vizuri watu wetu waelewe. Kuna shamba ya Portland, kuna shamba ya numerical machines, kuna mashamba private ambazo zimechukuliwa. Some of our most prominent people including Judge Mbaluto, shamba yake Katani imevamiwa na wakora hao. Kwa hivyo the problem is bigger. Kwanza ni solution ile ambayo imekuja, na nikimalizia ni kwamba this has been long overdue. Hao watu wote tunajuana, wale ambao wamechukua mashamba, hao wanasiasa wengine tuko nao hapa kwa bunge, na wote wamekuwa wakisema wanajua wanaweza faulu ama wasifaulu. So they have never been sure because they have never had a right over this land. They knew one day if the government is decisive, they have no claim over that land. So it is important for it to be known that they are shedding crocodile tears. Namba pili, ndio tunasema kwamba tumeuliza serikali, kwa sababu what is being said huku nje ni kwamba Wakamba wanavamiwa. Hii ni shamba ya Wakamba wamekuwa hapa. The Kamba people, we have about 5.5 million. Wale watu ambao wako Mavoko ni about 1,500 people. And not all of them are Kambas. That is important for people to know kwamba wale watu tumeona wengine Congo village. Congo, kwani Congo ni Makueni. Watu wa Congo wanasema Congo village, wametolewa Congo, wamekuja wamepewa mashamba hapo. Alafu tunaambiwa ni Wakamba wamenyang'anywa shamba. Kwani Congo village yao ni watu wa Makueni ama ni watu wa Kitui? Tumesikia huyu, tumeona hule. So ni Wakenya wamekuwa pale wengi. Yaani wamenyang'anywa pesa na wanajua ni nani alikunyang'anya pesa. Pili, umeuziwa shamba, umejenga hoteli. Shamba umeuziwa eka 10 na umesema umelipa 500,000. Shamba iko Mavoko 500,000, ni wapi shamba ya 10 acres inaweza kuwa 500,000? Kumaanisha hata wewe ukinunua ulijua unanunua fake. Tatu, hakuna shamba inapeanwa na mtu binafsi. Shamba inapeanwa na serikali. Kama umekuja umepata mtu binafsi amekwambia na kupatia shamba ndio ujenge. Sasa si serikali ya county, si National Land Commission, sio Ministry ya Lands, nani binafsi anaweza kupeana shamba? Kwa hivyo tuache ubunuasi. Tuuliza watu wetu wa Wiper, tuache ubunuasi, tuache kuinsight ati ni jambo la Wakamba. Si jambo la Wakamba. Ndugu yangu akiiba, si mimi nimeiba. Ni wachache, wawili, watatu wameiba na tunawajua. Kama umekuwa ukiletewa pesa ya kufanya kampeni kutoka kwa mashamba ya Portland, ndugu yangu, declare your interest. Useme hawa wamekuwa wakiuza hizi mashamba wananiletea pesa kufanya kampeni. Mimi naitwa fulani kutoka Sikuru na nimekuwa nikiletewa hiyo pesa kufanya kampeni. Let us just be open. Na si jambo imefanyika Ukambani peke yake. Hivi tunavyoongea Kericho, kuna wale ambao walikuwa wamevamia mashamba ya tea factories, wametolewa kwa hizo mashamba. Wale ambao wamekuwa wamevamia mashamba ya Mau wametolewa. So it is not an Ukambani only problem. We want to say that lazima we must correct the wrongs of the past. Now what we have been told is that hii shamba it will be put into public use. Kutajengwa mafactory, kutajengwa manyumba, And our only request is that His Excellency the President prioritizes the local community. Wakati kazi zikitengenezwa, 60% zipewe watu wetu wa Kamba ndio tuweze kusonga mbele. Asanteni sana.
Let me start by really saying that we are very sympathetic, of course, with the families in the current situation that is in Mavoko. But what we stand for as leaders is that transparency matters land in this country, and what we have as our manifesto is to ensure there is total fairness. What has actually come to light, and I really want to appreciate DCI, they've thoroughly brought out a list that includes different groups of cartels, ranging from people who are being paid by taxpayers' money, whereby eventually then they continue cartelling and selling this land fraudulently. It is a high time that we urge that action be taken by government to ensure that total compensation will be done by the same people who fraudulently count these very innocent Kenyans. I want to state that the Excellency, the President William Ruto, has nothing to do in what is being purported by our colleagues from the other side, that we are trying to not consider families. That is not the case. The law cuts across both sides of the coin. There is no that it is leaning to one group of people. So the president is not in regards to, is very fair in ensuring that law is adhered to. As my colleague has also stated, the leaders, especially the Machakos leaders, who have really come out, they have been there when these lands have been sold. They have been on the front line. They've been mentioned. They should be actually on the same front line, taking themselves to the same DCI and being able to honor the particular summons and being more responsible, instead of trying to come out and show sympathy, which does not completely make sense. This property has had a case for over 10 years. In the court, it was ruled. So a process has taken place. Where were these people in terms of the people who sold them land? If they felt genuinely that it was not the case, they did not present themselves. They were not party to the court issue, and then they let it die because they knew the status. So these issues of land cartelling should come to an end, and this should set an example. As we've also mentioned, we have different tribes that have been affected. We have Mount Kenya. We have people coming from the western region, because Kenya belongs to everybody. You can be able to settle anywhere. So it's not really a community that we are just here trying to say this is the only community that is here. We are representing all Kenyans and trying to say that local leaders honor your problems, honor your menace that you took, and be able to be on the front line and compensate the Kenyans who are suffering right now. That is what we stand for, and we stand to ensure that fairness will be accorded as required. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Nimrod, I want to put a voice.
Thank you so much, members of the press. I think we are here as members of parliament allied to the Kenya Kwanza side of the government, of the political divide. And it's because we've seen the stories for the last 1 week flying left, right, and center, trying to incriminate the president in what is happening in demolitions in Mavoko, trying even some senior people in our region have come out to call out the names of some of our brothers who have been appointed in senior offices by the government, that they are involved in the demolitions. That's quite unfair. You can't narrow down on an officer who has just been appointed by the government to run a certain organization and say that he is the one who has done it. This is a policy direction by the government. It was implemented by the government, not an individual son of the Ukambani who is working in the government who has done it, as alleged by some of the leaders. Number two, I think it's good for us to put the story right. And this is the right format. And if you will be trying to go around and looking for any other truth from what I'm going to tell you, my brother, you are going to have not a very true story. The true story is this. There is a dominant political party in Ukambani. They learned that they have to fund their party. They looked at the natural resources in Ukambani. They looked at some of the things in Ukambani which can help them fund their party. And they landed on this land. The land in the river, the land in Mavoko. Even at some point, the land in Ketengela in Kajiado, but they were not given that opportunity. So they formed a cartel of some leaders and also some goons of the Kamba community background, as in Kambas. And they decided they are going to make money out of this land. So they went ahead, hired the goons, apportioned themselves this land through protection by these goons and also seeking protection from government offices by corruption. Then they went ahead now to sell the land to unsuspecting, gullible Kenyans. I don't know whether you are getting me. Some people have come together, have decided to look for money, and they have seen there's some land in our region which we can use to raise funds for a political party. So if we can use our political positioning and our popularity in Ukambani and look for a way of a mafia way of operation, that we make sure that we are the ones who are selling this land. So they managed to do that very well. Today, I was shocked to see the name of only one member of parliament in the list being investigated by DCI. This man, Honorable Makau, is just being used. There are big names from this popular party behind Makau. It is not as Makau as Makau, the member of parliament for Mavoko, who did it. No. But there was a larger team of political leaders. Then there was a larger team of Kamba leaders, local Kamba leaders, and some goons. So when they went on the ground, what they did is not that they sold the land to Kambas. No. If you look into the statistics of the land we are talking of, and the communities who have been mostly affected, 40% of people who are sold this Portland land are from Mount Kenya origin. Another 40% of people who are sold this land are from Kisii background. 15%, there is a 5% of Congolese. 5% of Congolese. Then there is a 5% of Kambas. Then there is 10% of leaders. Because these leaders did not leave themselves with nothing. Some have 100,000 acres, 100 acres, some have 50 acres, some have 20 acres. It's only 5% of Kamba community who have been affected by these demolitions in the Portland land. The people who have been either affected are non-Kambas. 40% is from Mount Kenya region. 40% is from Kisii region. 5% is from Congolese background, refugees. But the people who have benefited from this money, the cartel, the mafia kind of formation, which has benefited from this money, is made up of total 100% Kamba leaders from a party which is dominant in Ukambani. This money has been funding that party for the last 10 years. That is the reality. And we have to bring it out so that it can go out there and be seen. So I want to tell our people, the Kamba community, it's only very few Kambas who have their houses demolished. If we compare the number of houses of the Kamba people who have been demolished in the Portland land, is only 10%. But 40%, another 80%, actually 85%, 80% is from some Kenyans from other regions, 5% is from some Congolese. Only 10% is Kambas. So, but all the money went to some Kamba leaders. No other person who gained advantage of this. So, whom are we supposed to go after? We are supposed to go after the people who smartly went ahead and got hold of the land, lied to the people, masqueraded as the landowners, and sold to these people, the Kenyans who are unsuspecting, and the Kenyans went ahead and built homes, built shops, built churches, built schools. We saw schools, private schools in this area, because there has to be a school, there has to be a church, there has to be these public amenities. So people went ahead and built hospitals in this land. But they were just buying the land from a mafia team. So what we're asking for is we have to go for this team which acquired the land and sold to the gullible people. And because they never sold the land to get lorries of sand, they sold the land to get money. Whatever they bought with that money is what the government should go after. The Asset Recovery Authority. We are calling upon the Asset Recovery Authority to take it up after the DCI and recover properties from these people, and now they can take care of the people who have lost their property in that land, who have lost their houses, who have lost their land, who have lost their investments. And that's the truth. So my brothers and sisters from the media, I beg you to report the truth so that our people can get it right. Thank you.
More Radio, 88.2 FM. We are in charge.